Hey, thanks for joining us. Another edition of Life Minutes. In our last video in this series, The Search for the Real Christian Faith, we talked about just scratching the surface regarding whether God exists or not. In this video, we're going to talk about the Christian view of God. In other words, if there is a God, what is he like? And as a Christian, I believe that I can understand a lot about God from the Bible. I don't understand every single thing about God. He is way above us as humans. But I want to talk about what is God like? Okay? Is he a cosmic cop whose goal is to catch us doing something wrong so that he can punish us? Is he like Santa Claus? He just gives us what we want, kind of a fuzzy, warm feeling, Is he the impersonal force of Star Wars? I mean, what's God like? Well, let me tell you what the God of Christianity is like briefly, okay? Those views I just mentioned to you are wrong. That's not what God is like. He's not impersonal. He's not the cosmic cop out to ruin your life. And he's not Santa Claus just to give you whatever you want. Not at all right? So when you read the Bible, here are some of the things we know about God. We know he's personal, meaning that he wants to be involved in our lives. He cares. He's all-knowing. And this is a mind-boggler, but it means that God knows everything that can happen, will happen, could have happened, but did not. And then for me, it's a comfort knowing that God knows all there is to know about me, but he still loves me, because I do mess up. This all-knowing God is never caught off guard. He never stumbles when something happens as if he wasn't aware it would. But he's all-knowing. He's loving. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. He's righteous. He's holy. He's morally perfect, right? He's gracious and he's kind. All of these things are descriptive of the character of God, right? Ultimately, if we want to see what God is like, and we'll see this more in our next video, we must look to the life of Jesus. Why is that? Well, the person of Christ, his historical existence, is unarguable. It is. Christ existed. Jesus walked this earth. The Bible fills in the blanks about his life and what he did, but there is secular history of the 1st and 2nd century that speaks to the existence of Jesus. We believe in the Christian faith that Jesus is eternal God. John 1:1 says that in the beginning was the Word, beginning meaning before time. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. Who is the Word? Well, it tells us he was with God, literally like sitting across from a table in a face-to-face conversation. You have the Word and you have God. All right? And verse 14 said the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. So the Word is Jesus, eternal God, just like the Father is eternal God and the Holy Spirit is eternal God. He left heaven, he came to earth. You want to know what God's like? You look at the person of Jesus. If we want to get a picture of God, you can't pick and choose what part of God we'll like and what part we will not. God's character is seen in all that he is. We like the warm, fuzzy, loving God, but we also know that he is righteous, holy, and just. And so he deals with things from a perfect moral base, okay? So you can't just pick the fact. I like the idea that, in heaven, but I hate the concept of hell. Hell was never, ever created originally for mankind. It was made for the devil and his angels. The point being, though, you can't pick and choose what part of God that you want or you don't want. Let me close by saying this. There are people that will look at a Christian and they'll say, you know what, you believe what you believe because you need a crutch. You can't make it without this God of yours, and it just shows how weak you are. Well, I have one very well-known English word for that. It's baloney. Because every human being has a crutch. You might rely on yourself, be so self-sufficient that you don't need anybody else, you don't need any help at anything, you're very self-sufficient. You are your own crutch. For some other people, sadly and unfortunately, it's become alcohol to the point where it controls them, drugs. It might be another person. Your crutch might be another person. Your crutch might be your job. You just couldn't live in the world without your job. In other words, we all have things that we lean and rely on to help us make it through life. We do. Nobody is immune to that fact. I'm sorry. And you can have a conversation with somebody and eventually get to this fact that we all rely on something or someone to help us make it through the day. I've chosen to rely on Jesus. If that's my crutch, you know what? I'm okay with that. But don't just assume that Christians are weak because we rely on Christ. Every person relies on something or someone to get them through life. Hey, thanks for joining me. I look forward to our next video together. Thanks.